Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 15 of Beyond the Purple Door. I am the Wellness Witch, Nicole Castillo. If you haven't already, please go like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Beyond the Purple Door. I am so excited today for our beautiful, amazing, fabulous guest, a woman who I absolutely adore and love with my whole heart. Today, we are going to journey beyond the purple door with Shalise Stevens. Shalise faced every mother's worst nightmare in June of 2004. She lost her 4-year-old son when he drowned in a water park swimming pool. From that day forward, her life transformed into a journey of healing her mind, body, and soul. This grieving mother has been able to face her deep loss by turning her story into the raw and vulnerable pages of her book, Finding 40, A Mother's Walk with Grief, which is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. She now takes the lessons she has learned throughout her life to help others along their own personal path through her writing, speaking engagements, and healing energy. We actually met on the other side of addiction with Al Richards as co-hosts. So she is very well versed in podcasting and speaking. Shalise has been blessed with 2 more beautiful children, an amazing fiance, and a bonus daughter, and she is constantly creating memories. She also runs a nonprofit organization helping kids with congenital heart disease and writes children's books as a way of keeping her body's legacy alive. She is a light to many with her big heart, definitely, and her infectious laugh, which is iconic, I must say, and passion for living her life today, for she knows that tomorrow is never a guarantee. So welcome to the show, Shalise. I'm so excited to have you here. I'm so honored to have you here today. We start off Beyond the Purple Door with what we're celebrating today. And I am celebrating that I am here with you. When I was creating this podcast, you were one of the guests that I had in mind as a top 10, definitely top 10 guests. And I'm also celebrating that today is my 14-year last first date anniversary with my husband. Also, today is the Fiddler's birthday for Murphy and the Giant. They will be playing on Saturday night at Piper Down. So if you get a chance to go see them, so happy birthday, Jamie. And also my best friend in high school, Wendy, it is her birthday today. I call her my wifey. So I met my husband on my wifey's birthday. I would really love to hear what you are celebrating today, Shalise, and also our viewers. If you guys want to add in the comments what you're celebrating today, we can celebrate with you.
Well, I am super honored to be on this show and really excited. I know we had to put it off a couple of times because of different things that got in the way, but today I'm celebrating, for one, that I get the opportunity to do this with you and be a part of this awesome adventure that you're going on as well, because I always love to celebrate and empower women. That's one of my things that I get to start. I'm also celebrating the fact that I get to do so many things that I've worked really hard in doing, and just moving forward in my life. Celebrating the fact that
okay. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to share this to your followers on Facebook, so I apologize for that technical difficulty.
It's fine. I might have, I glitched out for a second anyway, so. So anyway, and then I'm just celebrating the fact that I get to be able to work on my life's purpose and really go 100% full steam ahead on what I've been wanting to do and working towards doing for many, many years. So.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear what you're up to. I'm curious how you go from experiencing so much loss and grief to where you are today and what it is that you're doing today. You have done some very big, scary things in your life. I've been able to meet you during some of those things, and then the transition to what it is that you're doing now. How do you move through such loss and such grief to where you are today?
Well, I mean, it's definitely a process. It doesn't happen overnight. It's one of those things where you talk to people or you see people's success and fame and fortune and all of that, and you're like, they just got that. I wish I had that, but you don't see their whole story behind that as well. So I mean, one of the things that I've learned, and I'm nowhere close to where I want to be in life, but I am exactly where I'm supposed to be, and I do believe that with all my heart. So I just truly believe that it's just moving forward, taking those moments. I still have those moments of complete loss and grief and devastation and depression and all of those things. Like, that's not something that just goes away, that you just get over. It's something that I live with a lot, and it's not as much as it used to be, but it definitely is. It still comes up. So
Yeah. So when it comes to finding a life purpose, is that something, how does that relate to the experience that you had with losing your son?
So that actually became my purpose, was to honor him and find a way to do that was that helped me heal, but also was able to help other people heal, and continues to help other people heal along the way, because I didn't know. I mean, I was 25 years old when this happened to me, and at 25, it was one of those points in life where, I mean, you don't really know where you're going at 25. Like, you're trying to figure it all out. Some of us are in college, some of us are, new moms and all that stuff. But I mean, it's kind of just that figuring things out, that process. And so to basically have that all stripped away from me, I mean, I wasn't married at the time anymore. I had Caleb. I was a single mom, and that was my life and my world pretty much. And I was trying to do some other things, but I mean, my whole life was pretty much this kid. And when it left, I had nothing. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to do. But the thing is that I think that really has given me a lot of like how I found what my purpose was going to be, is really just paying attention and listening to those opportunities that came up through the universe, and saying yes to experiences and meeting people and being open to telling my story and not being afraid of that.
Yeah. How soon for you did you start? Because I know you wrote the book. So how soon after this tragedy happened did you write the book?
Oh, well, the book took me 15 years to write. And I published it when it was 3 years ago this month. And actually today, I think, was 3 years ago when I launched my book. So I guess it's my 3-year anniversary is also what I'm celebrating to the launch of my book. I didn't even think about that.
How did that happen? Oh my gosh. I'm just like, yeah, goosebumps, and just like, wow, how honored I am to be here today with you on the 3-year anniversary celebrating launching your book.
Yeah, and that to me was the biggest accomplishment that I had ever done in my entire life, because I knew when my son passed away that I was going to do this, and I knew that I eventually would do it. I didn't know, like, there was this point where it was like, you wait for that when it's time, like the end of the story. Well, what I realized as I was continuing on my journey of this loss and grief, that there was no ending. There was no end of the story. So I just had to make a decision to finish where I was at and be okay with that, and get that book out. I definitely knew that my story was something that I needed to write right away, because I was given all these grief books, all of everything. And I talk about it in my book, that, you know, I didn't want to hear from anybody that was going to tell me how to get through the stages of grief, because nobody can tell you how you're going to get through the stages of grief, because everybody handles it differently. And there's not like one first step is this, two second step is this, 4 days later this is the third step. Like that doesn't happen. It ebbs and flows and comes and goes. And so I was like, I'm not going to read from a psychologist on how to heal. And this was, now it'll be 18 years next month from when he passed away. So this was almost 18 years ago. And they didn't have the kind of book that I needed. And I knew that it was because I was supposed to be writing it. So slowly but surely through all this time is how I finally did it. And, you know, there was a lot of times when a lot of it is just journal entries. A lot of it is just poetry that I wrote. A lot of it is feelings, and it kind of comes and goes with the different situations that I went through during the book. Like it's not just a timeline of like A, B, C, D, E. Like it's this story, this experience, this feeling, this thought, because that's truly what healing is.
Yeah, I love that. I also love the idea of not having a time frame on it, because there is nobody can gauge how soon you heal from something. And I think also that it is an ongoing journey. So with so how did empowering women, like the things that you do now, how did that come into play? When did you discover that was part of your purpose?
So a part of it definitely was the ability to tell my story and share my story. When I first started really understanding that, it was when I was working for corporate America. I was working for IHG, and I absolutely loved that experience of working there, because I really got to learn about leadership and development, and I got to develop leadership programs and really learn that side of my passion. Like I didn't realize how much of a passion I had for that until I really started doing it. I mean, I've always been a teacher. I've always been a performer. I've always been like, you know, wanting to be a speaker and all of that stuff. Like that's always been a part of me. But when I was able to start, and I also knew that, you know, when you teach someone something, you learn more than just by doing it. Like the teaching is really the key. And so I was able to start doing that leadership development, and then working with an amazing group of women that was really empowered. Sorry, my dog. I told you she's like a toddler.
Your dog, mommy. Trust me, I've got 3 of my own. I know.
I know. We're gonna have to move over here and let her out so she doesn't keep bugging me.
That's okay. She can interrupt. We love our baby. Well, and we're getting some really beautiful comments. Brent Olson is here. Brent, love you so much. He is Shalise's wonderful fiance, and he is just an extraordinary human being. So thank you for being here. Hugh Jacobson says, coincidence is the most awesome awareness. No accidents, right? We're exactly where we need to be. Brent says, the universe always knows. Definitely always knows. And then Hugh says, in your grief, are your memories of the sadness you shared or the best of times shared? And
that's really cool. I like that.
Yeah, Hugh is he is Jessica's dad. He's an extraordinary human. Some people know him as the White Buffalo, and he also lost his one and only beautiful angel daughter, Jessica, to a drunk driver. And his story, if you haven't heard it, Nora, she did a show. She's the Red Marble, and she did a show with Hugh. And if you haven't watched it, I strongly encourage everyone to go watch it. It's a beautiful story of how he has navigated through the loss of his angel daughter, Jessica. And then Trish is here. Hi, Trish. She says, I love watching you thrive, Shalise. Thank you for inspiring so many with your story.
So I love you, Trish, so much. And Trish is actually the one at IHG that really helped me with the leadership development. And we did so much with that. And And just after we all got laid off at IHG, but afterwards we connected and we continued that bond. And I mean, she's my very best friend in the whole entire world. And like the fact that we now get to teach each other and be there for each other and inspire others together, because I know that we do. It's just been such an amazing adventure with her too. And I wouldn't be where I'm at in so many ways if it wasn't for her. And she was at my book launch too. So
oh, we should have had her on. I love that so much. That's amazing. Yeah. So the people that you're impacting in the community. So what are some of the things that you do or that you're a part of? I wanted to talk a little bit about the Rainy Days Foundation. If you're open to share about that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So 6 years ago, actually May is like a month of beginnings for me, apparently, like spring. I'm apparently a spring girl, even though I was born in winter.
Me too. We're both January babies.
I know.
Yeah. So it's something about spring. So it's like, it's the energy of spring. It's like creation and fertility and sex magic and all these beautiful, wonderful things. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on May of 6 years, 6 years ago, I started Rainy Days Foundation. I believe it was 6 years ago. Actually, it might have been longer than that. 7 years ago, 2015. I started a foundation, and at first I thought it was going to be to help people navigate through loss and grief, like moms, because I was a mom, and that was my story. And at the time, I was a single mom, and when I started my foundation, it was when I was going through my divorce with my second divorce. So I knew, I was like, it's time to do what I'm meant to do, and I knew that I always needed to do something. So I started this foundation. And then through the years, it kind of shifted and changed like it does. But then I was like, well, maybe it's trauma and tragedy that I'm supposed to help people through, because I'm helping people a lot with that are in the hospital or that are sick or that are going through some really, hard times with their kids. And so I'm like, well, maybe it's that. And while I was looking at that, I met a family whose child was going through he needed a heart transplant. And this boy was the same age as my son, my youngest son was. They're the same age to this day. They're still the same age. And so I was like, and their daughter was the same age as my daughter. And again, to this day, we are still the best of friends. Like, I absolutely adore this family. And the mom and I connected. We're the same age. Like, it's so great. And so as I was getting to know this family, I also started to get to know other heart moms and other families that their kids were going through that. And I was always told, and I always felt that, Caleb had such a big heart, and that's my son that passed away. I don't know if we mentioned his name, but Caleb had such a big heart, and I feel like my superpower is love, and that I've always had a big heart. And so I was like, maybe it's, it makes sense, because, we're helping heart kids and we're helping heal these little hearts. And as I'm going through this journey, I also realized that a huge part of my healing process that I hadn't gotten through at this point was the fact that my son, when he passed, donated his heart valves to save another child. And being 25 years old and having my son ripped out of my life, on a physical level, I was not able to deal with that at all. And, I honored it, and I took it. We got a little medallion thing that I went and put on his grave. And I was like, good job, buddy. You saved someone else. But I could never understand why it wasn't at that point, why my son had to go, basically. And so I kind of suppressed that. There were plenty of layers of healing that I needed to get through before I could bring this back up to the surface. So I, when I went through this process with this family, I was like, it hit me so hard. And I'm like, I know I'm supposed to be here because I've been through it. I was the one on the other side. And I now understand the why. to it. And I get to now help heal all these other little hearts and be a part of it. And the moms that, I mean, it's, of course, the dads are a huge part of it too, and they go through their own thing. But again, being a mom, I can relate to the moms that also have gone through loss now with their children. They're not passed away. Some of them have definitely transitioned over, but they have lost that opportunity to have the life that their child should have. They don't get to see them go out and play sports. And if they do, they're panicked, and they, or it takes a long time to like get to that other place of like, okay, it's okay if they go out and play. It's okay if they go out and do this, but getting a cough doesn't always mean they're going to go to the hospital, but so many times it does. And so just being that support system to when they move from the hospital to home, when they don't have any, like in the hospital, you have a group that you're surrounded by. But once you move on from that, or, sometimes there's not always that connection that they have. And so I've been able to be that connection, and we get to do fun things. And like, I took them to the zoo last year, and they all got zoo passes, and they have that bonding moment. During COVID, we had Zoom calls once a week where we would get on and just touch base with everyone. And and little things like that give them that sense of community. And community has been so powerful, and I know how powerful women are when they come together. And I just want to keep that going. And being a businesswoman myself, I know that a lot of times it's a struggle to be supported. And so one of the other things that I get to do is start the women's chapter in the West Jordan Chamber for the women in business. And that just barely happened this last week.
Yeah, I was like, I wanted to bring it up, but I was like, I knew I wanted to celebrate that with you. So I'm so grateful you brought that up here. So yeah, so tell us a little bit about that.
So it's the women in business. So what we're going to start doing is every second Wednesday of the month, we'll get together and really just, we have a keynote speaker. We're going to try to get one, once every, if we don't get it every month, then we'll try to do it as often as possible, but just different questions, different trainings. One of the things that I learned, because I just got done running the grill in a bar in West Jordan. And one of the things that I learned is how many women own their own businesses, but have no idea how to run them. And so they rely on other people. And I'm not saying that, I mean, you need a village to thrive. That's for sure. Like, you need the expertise of all kinds of people. I would not be successful without my amazing partner, Brent, that he pushes me. But he also has gifts that I don't have, that together we get to form that. So I'm not saying that we don't need men, because we do. And I'll always say that. Yeah. I would not be a mom if it wasn't for a man. I'm just saying.
Exactly.
So it's very powerful. But I also believe that women feel very, very intimidated by that. Not all women, but the majority of women feel very intimidated. And especially in a community like ours that is male ran, and it's very, we have that shortage of women empowerment. And I want to bring it back to, I know we had it in West Jordan at one point, but it's been several years, and I'm excited to bring it back, because the women are the key. Because the men need us just as much as we need them. And we are powerful, and we are amazing, and we are capable of doing pretty much anything that we put our mind to. And we also need each other to do that. There's so many places in our lives that it's that catty, I don't know if I can say, if I can swear, catty bullshit.
This is Nicole's podcast. We say,
I swear, so I'm like, I know, should I swear?
We swear. We curse.
Well, I figure, I know we swear, but
yeah. This is Nicole.
But it is. And just like when we met, Nicole, like when we were when we were co-hosts on that show. I mean, I know that I have had to overcome a lot of things in my life. I mean, it's been a while, but the cattiness between women, and someone that looks like you in my eyes is like, why would she want to talk to me, or why would I want to talk to her? I'm not saying anything bad, but I'm just, I mean, you're beautiful, and you're outgoing, and you're there, and your presence is big, and that's very intimidating to other people. And I have worked through a lot of that in me to be able to say no. Like, this woman is someone that I want to connect with. I want to be your friend. and I felt that right away, and you gave that back to me, and that is why we became friends, is because you weren't intimidated by me as well, because I know I can be intimidating too, because I'm loud and I'm out there and I'm not afraid.
I love it. It's all the things I love about you. And I think it's like, especially for me, it's like there needs to be a balance of masculine and feminine. It needs to be restored, so that it's like two wings of a bird, and you need both wings. And so for me, with my partner, I can't imagine, he sees things totally different than I do. The way that he sees the world, the way that he sees fixing problems, solving problems, and it just expands my own problem solving skills, my own ways of looking at a problem, or finding solutions. So I definitely feel that we do need both. And I am very privileged, because the goddesses that I am around, like you, and Natasha Devine, and Amy Bingham, and Alyssa Ann, and Rebecca Holt, like, these beautiful goddesses are there to support and empower each other. We all have our own unique strengths, and we all have our own unique gifts. And there is enough room in the circle for everyone. And to be able to celebrate each other when, we're doing our own thing, and being able to be there and be a cheerleader. And one of the things that really drew me to you is just how powerfully you speak, because I have struggled with finding my voice. And, I'm stepping into that now, but just how powerfully you used your voice and knowing your purpose. I think so many people are kind of looking for what their life purpose is, and for you to just be so grounded in like knowing who you are, what your purpose is, what you're here to do. And then it creates a space for you to be able to pull the next person like me who's working on those things. You can pull me up and support me with what it is that I'm doing. So it's just really, really beautiful. And I love that you're bringing that back into your community. What are some of the ways that you support women with finding their purpose? Is that...
Well, I think
you're done for me, but I'm just curious if there's things that you...
Yeah, I think that for me, I'm definitely, for one, I mean, just honoring them too, and supporting them, and sharing things that is meaningful to me. Like, I mean, my beautiful friend Holly, whenever I go to a drum circle that she does, or an event that, being even if I'm not a part of helping with that, just sharing those things with other people, and recommending, her to other people. And my other friends I'm so blessed, because I have the most amazing friends, and they are so powerful and so awesome with their gifts. And we all do have our own special gifts. And the funny thing is as much as I love, sorry, I just got distracted with my thought. Yeah. But, as much as I am that powerful person, I always say that I'm the most insecure, secure person you'll ever meet. Because I honestly, a lot of times when I'm like, well, what do I have to offer? What do I really have to offer this world? Is it just to be a support to other people? Or do I have these things? And I need that to uplift me, that my support from my friends and my loved ones, that that are like, you know, you are so powerful. Those words of the validation, even though I'm learning how to do that on my own, it's not like that comes all of a sudden. It's not like the first thing that happens is like you're like, okay, I can do this and I have all this faith and trust and belief in myself. There's always those doubts. There are always doubts because we're human and we're programmed to do that way, because it's also a defense mechanism, I think, that we're given of like, okay, so we have all these great things that we can do, but do I have the tools to do it? And so we question, and that's how we get the tools to move forward.
Oh, I love that. That's how we get the tools to move forward. Well, and it also provides a space for healing because it is a natural response. It's a fight or flight response. Self-sabotage is a way of protecting yourself of like, oh my gosh, if we do this, who are we leaving behind? If we get everything that we want, who are we leaving behind? Or, you know, my friend group, the girls that I hang out with, are they still going to be friends with me? Or, oh my gosh, there's so many. Like,
yeah. Well, my friend Susan, she's an amazing astrologer, and she does so many great things. And a few years ago, we were talking about like how we're kind of both stepping into our own power, and how fast people are to put you down.
mm-hmm.
And how fast those people are like, wait, you can't shine if I'm not shining, type of thing. Or you're moving forward, but I'm still here. So, and it's not everybody, but I do believe that it's the way that you get to either weed out the people that are no longer serving you or no longer need to be a part of your circle, or say, okay, when you're ready, I'm still here, I'm still open. If you support me, I'll support you. And we definitely have to have that feeling, I believe, if we're going to get anywhere in life. I need to support people around me if I want to be supported. And I can't say like, oh, she's getting too big now, she has her own show, or she has this, or she has that, so stop, and put them down because of it, because I want that. And that's another way that I wanted to mention too, that I am definitely getting more involved with women's groups and places that I can help people excel. And if they want to, and if they're afraid to come to me, and I'm gaining, like I said, more tools and more platforms that I can really help people move through their fears and just go, because sometimes you just have to jump in and do it.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing. I'm the girl that's like, I probably get more excited about, results that people get than I do about my own, because I want to see everyone winning. There is abundance. There is enough for everyone. And so if someone else has their own, I'm thinking of my friend Melissa Ross. She is the world's best children's yoga instructor, and she's got Storytime Yoga, all these big things that she is doing. And it's one of those things that it doesn't take anything away from me or what I'm doing. It's like, I want to see her win. I want to celebrate with her. I want to be the girl that people call up and say, oh my gosh, Nicole, you're not going to believe. Like, call me for the self-sabotaging moments too. I will be there. But my favorite, is when people call me and say, hey, guess what? You're not going to believe this, but, and then they share their win with me. I just think celebrating wins, is so huge. I don't think people get acknowledged enough in the world. They don't get recognized enough in the world. And so when we can do that for each other, it definitely supports me with my growth. I just feel like the more I appreciate and recognize other people, the more that they will appreciate and recognize me, if that makes sense. Like, what you put out is back. Yeah,
absolutely. And that's where the full circle comes in. And that's, everything you do put out into the universe will come back tenfold. And being that shine, that's how you shine as a person. And now that I'm at this point in my life, and it took me a while to get here, because people would say, man, you're so strong. And my first response would be, oh, if you only knew how strong I wasn't, because of all the things and all the trials and all the things that happen. But I truly had to get to a point where it's like I had to be able to accept compliments as well. Yes, I am successful, even though I'm not where I want to be, but I am successful right now, today, because I'm doing what I know I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm so grateful I get to say that because I worked so hard to get here. And I'm not even, like I said, like we were at this grill for 10 months and then we left. So many people could look at that as being not successful. But the way my fiance and I look at it, we're like, we actually killed it. And we were way successful and we got to leave on top and really make a mark, and all the connections and all the beautiful things that I was able to do and the friends that I made and the people that I met were that's what my success is all about. It's not about how much money we brought home or whether or not we're still doing it, because now we get to do something else and that's super fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like leaving my corporate job. Like I was very well paid at my corporate job, and some people would look at that as being successful, but I wasn't happy. I was literally dying. I was getting sick. Every November would roll around and I would be in the ER or I would be hospitalized because of the stress. And so it's like my definition of success had to shift in order for me to still be alive and not in a like literally so sick. So I think that with our culture, there's so much emphasis put on like grinding and working hard and blah, 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 like working so many hours and like bragging rights for that, when really it's like, is that success for you?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, is success being happy or being able to go to my son's things at school. The first time when I quit my corporate job and started on my own thing, and I could go to my son's school and watch him like at an assembly for an event, it was like I felt so successful.
Yeah, well, that's just like me. I'm like this weekend. So the coolest thing. So when you run a grill, you don't have any days off. You don't have any like it's 24/7 pretty much that you're doing this. And we were so tired when we didn't have to work that we didn't have those moments of like, fun and making a difference where we could, and making the memories with our family. So the coolest thing, but we learned a lot during that time. We learned how to run a successful business. We learned how to work with my fiance, and I learned how to work with each other as partners. We learned our strengths. We learned our weaknesses. We learned how to fight. and the thing is that like, it's so cool right now that we get to like get this new chapter and still be able to, again, it's still that empowering, not just women now, but empowering each other as a couple. And that's such a huge thing for me, because I'm actually writing a relationship book as well, that eventually, not because I have the perfect relationship, but that's exactly why I'm writing it. So we can move forward. But now we've started another business with each other, and it's called Rent a Brent, and you can find us at brentforrent.com. I came up with that name. But that's the other thing, is that like, it's not just him and it's not just me. Like, we're working together. So he's now doing his own handyman business, because he's amazing at fixing pretty much anything that you can imagine. He doesn't do electricity.
Yeah, that's what my husband does.
And that's what, see? So again, working together.
He'll be so mad that I'm telling people that. He'll be like, now they're going to call me and like, what? Yeah, he's like, don't tell them I'm an electrician. I'm going to get in trouble. But with Brent, the thing is being around you guys as a couple, when you guys come to like events at my house or parties at my house, or we go see you guys somewhere, you guys are like, you have the most beautiful relationship. And I think it's one of those that I definitely have thought, it would be amazing to have a bond and a relationship like that. And I know that you offer some pretty powerful coaching and tools around relationships.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited for your next book to come out, because I see how you and Brent are together. If you guys don't follow them on social media, please go follow them, because they are the ones that are dancing in the kitchen together. They are the ones that are doing the TikTok dances together, like romantic dancing and TikTok dancing. Also, not only can Brent fix anything, he can also cook anything. He is a phenomenal cook.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like his food is amazing. And he puts his whole heart and soul into it. Same with Rent to Brent. I know it's like a very new business. How long ago did you guys start this?
A month ago.
Yeah, and I'm already like a fan of like following you guys on social media because it's so fun to watch Brent.
Well, and that's the thing that like through life, like I've definitely learned making things fun is the key. If you're not having fun, then you shouldn't be doing it. And I know that that's hard for a lot of people to hear, but and I've even been told like you can't make everything fun. And there's always parts of something that you do that's not fun, right? I mean, there's always that thing that you're like, "Oh, mine is I don't like to do book work. I don't like I don't like to budget. I don't like to do, but that's my job too with the business. So I'm learning, but I mean, it's just one of those things where that's just not my thing. I would rather create and do podcasts and do videos and dance in the kitchen and have fun and play and market and create. But there's always those pieces. But overall, if 80%, 85% of what you're doing isn't fun and isn't fulfilling, it's not worth it because life is too short. Life is too short to be doing something you hate for the whole thing.
Yeah, I call it soul death. It's
Yeah.
like death of your soul. And that's where I was at with my corporate job. It was
Yeah.
like my soul was literally dying. And so I paid for coaching school. Like I paid to get my certification. And so I can do something I absolutely love every single day.
Yep.
And that is my definition of success. It's change. Success to me is having a healthy, happy marriage, healthy, happy family, and for myself to be happy, not grinding my ass off because I think other people are watching me, and it's just not my thing anymore. It's not about the money or it's just not.
Well, and that's just like this weekend. We got to go and do things with the kids and make these memories with the kids. And yesterday, my daughter, we were at dinner because traffic was backed up. So we just took a detour and we were just sitting at Denny's and eating. And I was like, Brent, we totally killed it with the parenting thing this weekend. We were rock star parents. And my Danny, she's 14. She looks over and she's like, yeah, you did. I'm exhausted. All I want to do is go home and shower and go to bed. I was like,
Yeah.
I mean, that is awesome. They're going to remember, they might not remember all the details, but that's what they're going to remember. And that's what's important to me. So I've always been called the project mom and cause I'll do like little activities or little projects with the kids. And I'm like, okay, we good? But that's the thing is that I understand that it's not about how much money we make. It's not about how much, if we make money to do the, I mean, obviously we want to make money. I'm not saying that, but if we're working 24/7 and we never have time to spend with the kids and they grew up fine. They had everything that they needed financially, but they didn't have the memories. What are they going to say? Mm-hmm. It's going to be like the crying game song. So, yeah.
Love it. Love it. Well, I love to hear what you're up to now and the things that you guys are creating together. Is there anything that you haven't shared with our viewers that you would like to share?
Well, there's all kinds of things that I would like to share, but I am in the process of getting my own show as well. And if you guys follow me on social media, you'll find out it's going to be able to be on Roku TV, Fire TV, and Apple TV, which I'm pretty excited about. So, and I haven't come up with a name for it yet. So if anybody has suggestions on what to name my show,
Isn't that funny? It's like always easy for me to do that for everyone else, but then when it comes to myself, I'm always like a blank. I
I
don't know.
know. I'm like, do you know how long it took me to come up with a title for my book? 15 years.
Yeah, and how fast was it for Brent for his business?
Well, I came up with it, so that was super
Yes,
fast.
exactly. Because when it's for someone else, it's like that. But when you have to do it for yourself, it's like
Yeah.
blank. Yeah, that's exciting. So if you guys have suggestions on what Shalise can call her new show,
Yeah, totally. And I would love it if you guys wanted to follow me on social media. It's Shalise Adventures on Instagram. And pretty much everywhere else is Shalise Adventures, because life is an adventure and we need to take that and go with it. So
love that so much. So we usually, when we are close to wrapping up the show, we ask people to give our viewers 3 action steps to take on during the week. So if you were to suggest to our viewers what action steps to support them this week, what would those be?
So the biggest one for me is when you feel like you don't want to do it anyway. So whether that be doing your dishes, taking a shower, working out, something that's like, oh, I just don't want to do that today, just do it, because you'll always feel better in the end. The second thing that I would say is make those memories. Find one thing that you can do with your family or your kids and document, because I guarantee you that if tomorrow never comes, the one thing you're going to regret is not taking enough pictures. So make a memory and document it.
See, I'm typing these out. I'm a little I have had no coffee today. Make memories. And can you talk a little bit about the importance of documenting? I know that you are a pro at this. Can you maybe share a little bit your tips and tricks with documenting and why it's so important?
Yeah. So, I mean, taking pictures, we all have a phone now. I don't think I know one person in my life that doesn't have a phone. Even my grandma does, even my blind mother does. But taking those pictures that, and action pictures, having fun with it. Just, they don't have to be the best. They don't have to be, and you don't always have to post it on social media. Like, that's not something, but just to have that, or even write it down in a journal and say, we had the best day today. Just so there's those memories that when you look back, you're like, remember, this was so much fun, because you're going to want to do something like that again. You're going to, when your kids get older, you're going to be able to say, hey, look at this picture. And I have an example of my daughter sucking on a whipped cream can. and she still does that to this day. Like, she's obsessed with whipped cream and eating the whipped cream. And it's like, see, even when you were 2 years old, you were obsessed.
Cute. I love that.
And yeah, so just having those to be able to go back to and look at and cherish those memories.
Yeah, I think that's one of those things that it's like when you're getting married, invest in a good photographer, because that's the only thing that you're going to have to remember that day. And then also, like, with the birth of your children, like, to lose a child, I can only imagine. With my first child, I documented everything with him. I want to say I have with the other ones too, but that was before social media. So it's like I have Facebook memories, but with my first, he's 20 years old. So it was just one of those things that I documented a ton, took a ton of pictures, because if I was ever to lose my son, or my son was to lose me, he would have those memories documented in the form of photos or journaling. When I was on bed rest with him, because I had no TV, no phone, I would write letters to him every day. And so I was going through some things, and I came across the letters and was able to give him the letters from when I was on bed rest. And it was just like, I forgot I had even done it. It was a beautiful thing for him to have. So
I love that. That's so powerful. And actually, now that you say that, I think that's going to be my third action step is, well, I'm struggling with, because I would say
We can do 4.
we
Why
can do
not?
4.
Yeah. So what's your third one? We can do as many as we want. We can do 5, 10.
Well, I would say journal, but it's kind of part of the documenting. But also what I would do, because I just feel that this is such a thing right now, and it also empowers us as women. When you're journaling, I would journal every morning or every night, whichever, at least 3 things that you've done as a good mom. So I started a good mom journal years and years ago. I don't still do it, but I do it when I need it, because the first thing I think as moms is that we go through this like, oh, I'm such a bad mom because I didn't do this, I didn't do that, I didn't, like, all the things that we should have done during the day, or that we could have done better, or we yell at our kids, or whatever it is that we beat ourselves up over. I think it's so important that we see all the things that we did well, because we are amazing moms. Unless you're, beating your children or neglecting your children, or like, whatever. Like, obviously there's those times that, like, okay, that's not good. But the people that are watching this, and the people, 90% of the people we interact with, are good moms. And we're doing the things that we know best. Like, we're not always given, again, the tools to do the things that, we might want to do better, or we might, we all have those moments where we could be better. We could have done that better. We maybe shouldn't have yelled at our kid, or, whatever that. And I have plenty of bad mom things that I do, which is why I do love the Bad Moms movie, though, because I'm like, yeah, that's actually what makes you a good mom. Go out and get drunk with your friends. Like, that's important.
Yeah, it is. It is important.
And not spoiling them. It's not about like spoiling them or giving them all they want, but like the things that are good. Like, sometimes even I made my kid do the dishes, even though it was a pain in the butt to get him to do it. That's good mom.
Yes.
I went to their soccer game, even though I was hungover. That's a good mom.
You're so my girl. You're so my girl. Yeah, I love this. And then I think moms, especially, I find myself getting manipulated because of my mom guilt. Like, my kids know if I'm feeling guilty about something, and they will milk that for everything. And then I'm here like, yeah, they're very good.
Yeah. Well, my son, so he's 10, and his favorite thing is to be like, you're just always so mean to me. And I'm like, that means I'm a good mom. Thank you. I'm not mean to my kid.
I know you're a phenomenal mother.
But I'm learning to say the thank yous and your welcomes, instead of being like, oh man, you're right, and just giving in. And that's also to a lot of different things, compliments and all that stuff too. That could be action step number 4. Instead of saying I'm sorry, say thank you, or I'm welcome, or you're welcome. Because that's one thing I learned from Holly when we had our retreat last year. We did that together, and she's always really good, because we all say I'm sorry way too much. So it's a big part of healing when we can be like, you're welcome. You're welcome for making that mistake, because now we all get to learn from it.
Yeah.
Or thank you for loving me through this moment, because I'm a hot mess right now, or whatever.
Yeah. Instead of saying sorry, I'm late, saying thank you so much for your patience. Thank you for being patient. I absolutely love that. Yeah. That's one of the things when I first left my toxic relationship of 8 years, that somebody pointed out to me, you sure say you're sorry a lot. Have you been abused? I was like, what?
Oh.
It was like, I apologize for everything. Like, I breathed heavy, and I was like, I'm so sorry. And this guy that I was talking to totally called me out. He's like, have you been abused? And I'm like, why are you asking that question? Like, I know this. And it was like, because you apologize for everything that is not your fault. When somebody says I'm having the worst day, instead of saying, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I say, well, that sucks. Like, having a bad day, that sucks. All right. Well, it looks like we maybe have lost Shalise. So we are wrapping up the end of our show. So I want to thank all of our viewers today for being here at Beyond the Purple Door. The Purple Door is open to all of those who have the courage to walk through it. So thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next week. Love you guys.